ridge line behind it, we get you right up to tree line, right about that far.
All right.
And if we keep going, I'm going to put the flag right on the top of the mountain. Right about there. Okay.
It's direct.
So we've got kind of a combination of blowing snow and fog up there. Hard to tell what's what. But the prevailing wind comes out of the northwest, and that's just what it's doing today. So it'll be a little noisy here, bear with us. Get the machine up on the snow, it'll quiet down.
Which way's Mount Madison?
Just a couple clicks off the front of the stage.
Oh, yeah.
You can see the rocky ridge up there?
Yep, gotcha.
Now we're going to look to the right of the shoulder, coming off of Mount Madison. You'll see a city lying in the Androscoggin Valley out there. That's the city of Berlin, New Hampshire.
It's like that's where Mount
We don't call it Berlin,
Oh, really?
we call it
Yeah.
Berlin. And there's a town down in Maryland, I think it is, also spelled the same way. They call it Berlin. I think it was, anti-German sentiment during World War II when they kind of changed the pronunciation. Berlin here is probably best known as a mill town and having a heck of a good hockey team. Our hockey team down in Conway has a tough time with the Berlin Mountaineers. Hockey. Just barely seeing Mount Madison. And to the left of it, think of the clouds as almost outlining the mountain peaks. To the left of Madison lies Mount Adams, totally obscured by clouds. It does go up quite high. Mount Adams,
Remember that one, Blue?
almost as high as Mount Washington, about 5,900 feet. Second highest peak in the presidential range. The highest peak in the range, named for our first president. Second highest for our second president on down the line. This would be halfway, and for a lot of years, a building stood here on the right. And it was an historic building. It was old, it was held down by chains so it wouldn't blow away, and it was put up to house construction workers. Road construction took about 6 years. So the guys would live here in season. I'm sure road construction shut down in the wintertime. But once they finally finished the project, the workmen went home, and the building served as a tavern. So all of the teamsters would stop there. There was a nice spring where they could water the horses, and everybody would be invited to go inside. They served a drink there called O.B. Joyful. It's rum, cider, a little vinegar, molasses thrown in, maybe some spices. It was claimed that you had to have a little bit of that, get tight, so you could survive the weather up above. Just pause here. You'll want to maybe take a couple pictures. We can look down on the glen. We'll see all the meadows surrounding the beginning of the tour down there. In behind it, the Carter Moriah mountain range. And the notch is just filled with blowing snow, isn't it? Now here in the whites we have 48 peaks over 4,000 feet. And just to give you some perspective on that, the highest peak over on the right in behind the Glen House is 4,800 feet. And that's a pretty big one. And there are a lot more just like it, south and west of here. That's called the Carter Moriah mountain range. The Appalachian Trail travels along that entire ridgeline from right to left, before it drops down that sloping shoulder into the Androscoggin Valley. You can actually see a little bit of the Androscoggin. That pond is up in Shelburne, New Hampshire. There's a power dam there. The Androscoggin's been dammed up. And talk about wind scour. We've been traveling bare pavement at this stretch all winter long. What we need is a good wet storm accompanied by very little wind to get our snowpack here. if you look at these trees carefully, especially the ones on the left, you can see which way the prevailing wind blows by studying the branching on the trees. This wind blowing snow and ice crystals, much like a sandblaster, just strips all the growth buds off the trees, so they're constantly being pruned. Some of these specimens are over 200 years old, like Mother Nature's bonsai trees. Everybody enjoying the view here? We'll pull up right behind him. You may want to get some pictures of the cat.
Holy cow. Oh, listen to the wind.
We're looking over at Mount Jefferson out here on the right. Some prominent ridges running over toward us. Those are called Jefferson's Knees. Good place to stop.
Yeah, we usually stop here.
Yeah.
It's windy, one of the windiest spots.
Oh, you like the
Worst
wind?
weather.
Well, they do, yeah.
They're dressed. We're not.
Yeah,
But we'll stop and enjoy the view while you're doing your thing.
yeah,
And,
well, they're going to get in. Somebody else will get in front with me, and then we'll head up.
Yeah.
Next stop will be Franklin. And then it picks up, so we'll be almost every day after that, I guess.
I'm trying to sell these folks a tour. Told them if they liked ours, they'd have to ride with you. All right, thanks. So, home of the world's worst weather. Well, all fact, no brag. The second highest wind ever recorded on the face of the earth on top of Mount Washington, 231 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
That was back in 1934. And the record stood only until about, I think it was 8 years ago. It was So we can see on the left how this ridge is scoured. It's just facing right into that northwest wind. At the same elevation, across this little valley on the right, the trees grow up much taller. So if you're a traveler, you're up here on foot all the time. You know, you're keeping this in mind. Where am I going to go when I plan my route? To stay out of the wind? Okay, I'm out of the wind, but there's a problem there. If you're out of the wind, chances are there's a lot of snow. And if you're not in a forest, chances are there's a heightened avalanche danger. If you are in the forest, you're safe with the avalanche, but now you've got to think about, oh, I need my snowshoes.